Good day and welcome to this special edition of Spotlight called GM's Corner, a regular series of short conversations with LMOA's General Manager Steve Hurwitz about what's on his desk and on his mind. Mr. General Manager, how do you do?
Hello, Ron. Glad to be here again.
Okay, thank you. Let's get right to it. This week begins the Barcode for All era at Lake Monticello. Could you give us a little refresher on what this is about and how it's gone so far, first day or two?
This started when we did an evaluation of the lengthy lines that sometimes form at both gates, particularly at the main gate on big days, holidays, and so forth. But it's also at other times, including at the end of the evening commute. And when we took a look at that, it appeared that an awful lot of the people coming through, the vehicles coming through the assisted entry, where they call in both at Turkey Sag and then at the main gate, were in fact residents. So this intention was to, including lowering the price of the barcodes, was to make it so that most of those people, potentially all of them, all residents had barcodes and can enter through the unassisted gate and reduce the traffic. At the assisted gate, to help people that are returning from commute, and including visitors and tradespeople that come in to do work, we would like to keep those lines low. We did other things, including on big days, we added a third position. We're just completing the renovation of the main gate and in fact rearranged completely inside, and that's proven to be more efficient. So the last piece of that is for folks who are eligible for barcodes to go ahead and get them, and then they'll be able to enter any gate at any time and reduce the load on the assisted gate. We already know that that's not going to be 100% to start with. When we first started, there were some people who did come to the Turkey Sag gate thinking they would gain entry with the assist by calling in, and we had to tell those folks, no, we can't do that. We got to have you come around to the front. We think that's most people, having done that once, understand what the program is all about. And we're looking forward to that really working well to everybody's interest.
You'll be able to track progress on that and maybe even uptick of traffic at other gates.
Yes, indeed. In fact, we look forward with the early results to reporting to people, which we've done last week, and the week that we started. And we're looking forward to those special cases that we either might have already thought about and people just need an explanation again, or maybe situations that we haven't thought about. So we're looking forward to getting those questions, and I encourage people to send them to me or to Chief Tony Abbott, our Chief of Police, so we can put those together and put them out in email blasts and on the webpage, and then eventually in lake views, so those special cases can be explained to people and they can react accordingly.
Well, good. Also this week, we have a meeting, I guess the first of the season or something, for the Aqua Council or Aqua Advisory Council, a group of citizens, and I guess Aqua itself has reached out, knowing that in the past, let's say, there has been a little bit of unrest of various issues, and so they have invited representatives of the lake to come meet with them. Does Aqua bring the agenda? How does this work?
Aqua took the initiative to form the advisory council, and they asked us to ask residents to join. In fact, we've got 9 residents who are members of the council. Aqua does set the agenda, but based on our input. So a great deal of what happens in someone's house concerning Aqua is kind of routine and should be reported through the normal system directly to Aqua, and then they take care of it. But there could be a policy concern or something above, something that people might think affects just them. And they are more than welcome to email me, and then we can get that information to Aqua so that that can be set on an agenda for a future meeting. And Aqua's very glad to do that. They're very serious about doing that, and we're very glad to be part of that too.
Oh, well, it sounds like a good community relations move on their part. Obviously, they a lot of their community relations has been in the past over rate increases. and service, and they have had an awful lot of old pipes to repair, admittedly. So the occasional outage probably is to be expected in the community now celebrating our esteemed anniversary that we are. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. In fact, senior official from Aqua chairs the committee, and makes the trip here, and so that it's a commitment on their part, and we'd like to do our part to get concerns to them, and then help to make sure they are addressed.
All right. Also of a timely nature, the registration period for candidates for the LMOA Board of Directors has now closed. We have 2 seats up for election at the June annual meeting. How many have submitted packets? How many candidates do we have?
Well, I'm very glad to report that there are 4 qualified candidates
All right.
for 2 positions, so there is competition, and that's always the best.
Excellent.
So we will look forward to that. It's kind of a momentous event for the entire community because the board is such a critical piece of everything that happens here. And then people can look forward to getting their meeting packages and proxies in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one that gives full, detailed information, bio backgrounds, history, et cetera, activities of each of the candidates. So it's a good primer, and Broadcast also hopes to be doing, as we have in the past, individual interviews with the candidates, and we hope all candidate forum. So again, give people an opportunity to evaluate the candidates in relation to each other. Also, of course, on the ballot for June will be the board's proposal for a dues increase, and that obviously is going to claim a fair amount of attention, I would think. Now, the board is planning to hold some town hall meetings for information, give opportunity to people to ask questions.
Yes, indeed. In fact, those sessions are very important. There are 2 planned, one on May 5th at 3 p.m., that's a Sunday, and then on May 16th at 6 p.m. And we're looking forward to that being active exchange between residents and the board, and even more information out there. We'll also look forward to picking out anything that develops in those meetings that may not have been passed out before, and putting it out through other means, such as lake views and the web page and email blasts, because not all 12,000 residents are going to come to those town halls.
Yeah.
But I think we look forward to a great representation and an active participation in those meetings.
And a shameless plug, I'm sure Broadcast Group is looking forward to basically recording those town hall meetings and playing them on good old Channel 977, or of course up on YouTube. Consult your newspaper for listing for time and station, but it's the time and station will be 977, that we know.
Yes, I will say, for most residents, their primary way of participating in the governance of LMOA is in fact voting for board members. Yeah. It's set up that way and operates that way, and so the more care every voter gives to it, I think the better choice they'll be able to make in their own interest and in their own mind.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. A lot of folks have been receiving letters from the ECC, little notifications of some sort of infraction, something, a condition on their property that ECC believes should be corrected. Our new inspector apparently is making his presence felt, shall we say. How should people, if I get a letter aside from outrage, how should I react to this?
Well, there's 2 aspects to it. One is the outrage should be limited. The letter is full of legal requirements that we just cannot do. Likewise, we cannot call somebody and advise them of what our inspector, field representative we like to call him, has encountered and is reporting on. We can't knock on a door and tell somebody. It'd be impossible to track it. Plus, there are legal requirements that the notice of a, quote, violation has to include. There's mandatory information. So the letter seems kind of cold and maybe to the point of being indifferent, and we've heard those comments. But again, people should not take offense at that. It's just a matter of telling you, hey, here's a rule, and by all appearances, you have a violation at your home or lot. And that if they do have a concern that maybe it's inaccurate or incorrect, they should call the ECC compliance office and make that point. Better yet is an email. It's easier for them to handle it. Or in most cases, I would say the great majority, almost to the point of being above 95, 99% area, those observations are in fact going to be correct observations and worthy of correction. So my wish is that people look at the spirit and intent, more so than the details. On the other hand, we are always evaluating the program, and there has been a great deal of feedback about the nature of the reported violations. And so we're considering all that in terms of making sure the program is customer friendly and can achieve its purpose. We are big, very big, more than 4,000 homes, and the need to completely cover the entire community is evident. That's a commitment that we've made. And so that's one of the reasons we're going about it the way we have up to this point. But we will look at the customer friendliness aspect of it, because again, the purpose is not a violation or to issue a violation. The main purpose is compliance for the betterment of everybody, including the homeowner concerned.
Yeah, folks can't help. Of course, they can't help comparing. They sometimes will get something like this or a suggestion as something that they consider, and in the vernacular, and I've heard actually expressed to me on the street, ticky-tacky, and they say, well, on the other hand, I go over to section something, and oh my gosh, here's stuff littered all over the place. The house is a mess. It looks terrible, et cetera, et cetera. So they're drawing in their own mind some sort of comparison with their own property. That's hard to overcome, of course.
I can't argue with that viewpoint.
Yeah.
That's natural. We are going about it section by section, and with 12 sections, the original plan was to do a section a month. We're able to do that, but again, we want to make sure that's really the best way to do it. It has been successful in terms of getting the coverage, but there is this other aspect. Number one, we want to be sure people understand why it's being done, and then again, the spirit of it. I myself, living in another HOA, but managing HOAs, have received notices, and I've had to assuage my spouse's anger at a letter. She even said, couldn't they have knocked on the door? And I said,
right.
well, you just can't do that. So the same is true here, but knowing how people are reacting to it is important, because it really is to serve everybody's best interest. So we are looking at that, but we do want to get through the entire community this year. That would lead someone to think, why am I getting a letter here when 5 blocks away, when I drive, I see a house that appears to need attention at a level beyond what I'm being called to task for.
Right. Okay. And just quickly a wrap, maintenance has been doing extensive work down at Bunker Ball Field, playground, actually the playground, and including in the rain this past week with regrading and the like. That's a lot of work going on down there.
It is. It sits in a natural bowl and gets drainage off the street and off the ball field. So we've had a project on the books ready to do as soon as the weather allowed this spring, which it did, except when we started, we got more rain. So the project is taking a little bit longer, but the reason it's important is the Bunker playground gets an awful lot of activity, and it's wet and mushy a great deal of the time. So this plan is to improve the storm drainage so that people can use it much more often than in the past. There's often cars there and children and parents and others out there playing. So we want to be sure that facility's upgraded, safe, and available to everybody whenever they'd like.
Well, that's great. Okay, well, that's terrific. Nice note to end on for this time. So we thank you very much. We'll look forward to doing it again.
Glad to be with you again, Ron.
You've been watching GM's Corner, the regular conversations with LMOA General Manager Steve Hurwitz. We hope you'll join us again for more of this continuing series, and also take in the rest of the broadcast group's programming here on Channel 977 or up on YouTube. So until we see you again, on behalf of the LMOA Broadcast Group, I'm Ron Krause. Thanks very much for watching, and good day.